Hi guys, this is Tina. Today I want to share a very personal experience with you. It happened about 7 years ago now, and it was my first meeting with my so-called second half or twin flame. And at that moment I didn't have the words for what I was experiencing, so it took me a while to understand it myself, and it's only just recently that I have discovered the truth about it all. I have known all my life that there is somebody out there for me, somebody special, and I spent all of my teenage years to looking for that someone, but I was not in a state of consciousness. I wasn't aware of my true self, of my true soul, so I ended up in a marriage that gave me a lot of lessons and also a lot of blessings, and we were married for many years, but I knew that this was not as it was supposed to be, and I knew it instantly, in fact. But I came from a tradition where when you are married to someone, you're going to stay married for the rest of your life. And that was my notion, and that was my goal. So I lived with my husband for very many years before I finally found the strength to break up. And there were all a series of circumstances that made me finally take the step and leave my husband. And I will share one of these experiences that is very precious to me and very sacred. I was a very unhappy woman at the time, and I didn't dare to think the word divorce, because that was the ultimate wrong for me at the moment. So I tried my best to make it better, and nothing worked, because we were not at the same level anymore. I had developed, and I wanted to delve further into spirituality, and my husband wanted to stay the same. He liked status quo, and there were several other things as well that was not very good. But when I had this experience, I had a couple of dreams before that, and I think that this was the real awakening for me, that there is somebody out there for me, waiting for me, actually, another soul, or as I know now, it is my true soul. So one night I lay in my bed awake, and I suddenly felt this loving presence in the room, and I was wondering, was it an angel or what was it? I didn't know, but I felt very strongly that it was a man, and it was the same man actually that came to me in the dream I had a couple of weeks before. And that was actually a very sexual dream, And I don't usually have sexual dreams, but this dream was special because there was a sexual presence in the dream. Even though we didn't make love in the dream, I just felt his presence beside me. And no, not beside me, behind me, because I didn't really see him. I stood in front of the mirror and I was looking at myself, and then I suddenly felt this enormous drawing to another being that was, as I recalled it, behind me. And when I turned around, there was a man, and we embraced, and I shut my eyes and we kissed, and then when I opened my eyes, he was gone. And that dream really shook me up. And when I woke up, I sat for a long while at the bed, the side of my bed, and I was thinking, what on earth was that? And from that moment, I knew I couldn't stay married to my husband anymore. So the morning I woke up, I took off my rings to never put them on again. And then a couple of weeks later, I felt this loving presence in the room, and it was the same presence that I had felt in the dream. I knew this was a man whom I was supposed to be with. And he actually lay down beside me in the bed, and I said, "You cannot be here. My husband is asleep beside me here. You have to go." But he didn't went away. And I was just laying there in his presence, and I felt this enormous love flowing through me. And this time it was nothing sexual about it. It was very sacred and very holy. But still I felt it was the same presence, a male presence. And I had occurrences like that for about 4 months. He came to me usually the same time every night. And I fell in love with that presence, and I just felt so happy and so loved. And I started to change. I started to lose weight. I lost, in fact, 18 kilos in 4 months without doing anything. I didn't change my diet. I just was so darn happy. And I didn't know what I was experiencing at the moment, but I lived in it. I lived through it. And it was so wonderful and so precious. And then a while back, I discovered all these videos about twin flames and the twin flame consciousness. And I listened to people here on YouTube that have made similar experiences like mine. And I started to cry because finally somebody set words on my experience. And it was a very huge moment for me, spiritually. And today I know that I am a twin soul. My consciousness has raised to another level, and I know myself in a whole different way than I did before. I've always been a spiritual woman, and I have walked with God since I was a teenager. And I lived most of my life inside the Christian tradition. But I hadn't heard anything like this before I had this experience. And instinctively I knew that I couldn't talk to just anybody about this. So I started to search, and when I found these videos, I knew that, okay, so this was what I was experiencing. And I know I'm here on a mission, and I know that I'm supposed to reunite with this twin flame, this twin soul of mine in the flesh in this lifetime. But you know, you cannot hurry such things up. You have to wait for the perfect divine timing. And I cannot stress this enough, because I have tried to hurry things up. I have tried to make things happen, and it only backfires on you if you do that. So just stay with your soul, because your soul knows when it's time. Stay in the flow of life and let go of any worries you have, because if you have this inner knowing that there is somebody out there for me, then you are right. And he or she will come to you when it's time, when you are ready. And the reason I haven't reunited with this man yet is because I have things to work on myself still. And the reason you have not met your twin flame or a soulmate is that you still have spiritual work to do. And when you have done your work, then this person just will appear in front of you. And there will be no strain, and there's no stress, no matter how old you are or how young you are. There's no stress, because God knows when the time is. And the angels are preparing the way. And you don't have to worry about anything at all. Isn't that wonderful? So I think I've shown you this before, but this is the Lemurian crystal, and it's a twin flame crystal. And for me, it is a symbol of the relationship that I am already living in, because me and my twin flame, we are one, and I can feel him inside me. I can feel his soul, and we are talking to each other. We are even making love, and it's very beautiful and sacred. And I know that when we unite physically, it will be so wonderful. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And thank you for being here and listening to me.